Doing well.
Newly engaged?
Yes, I am. Appreciate it. Excited about that. Finally found me a good one. Funny story is I'm up there on a knee, and my bride-to-be is taking a picture of Coach Jackson and his wife to play it off. And these people come up behind us and start yelling, "We've got a wedding reserved for here at 2 o'clock." And I'm like, can you not see what's going on right here? So they interrupted a little bit, but we got it done and got it handled, and it was all good.
Okay, we have safeties coach Dontae Wright. Questions for Coach Wright?
So Dontae, just start with your positions. What do you see out of the safeties?
Well, that's a great question to start off with. I see we have more depth, which more depth leads to more competition. Which is always a good thing. That's what you're looking for in any coach, as any coach, is more competition. So those guys, they don't feel comfortable. They always know that somebody is pushing them, so they always have to get better. But we got more tools. We got guys that can be physical. We got guys that can play coverage. We got guys that understand the game at a really high level. We're faster than we've ever been. So I see a lot of ability if you look at the whole group as a whole. And each one of them are unique in their abilities. Each one of them are different, and that's exciting. But they can all do what we ask them to do. And it's not like in the past where we had a bunch of youth and you were trying to teach them everything. I'm teaching, calculus and trigonometry now instead of basic math, So that's fun. That's exciting. And I got a group that I love, man, that care about each other. They love each other and they work really hard, and then they fit well with the rest of the pieces on this defense. So I'm excited about the group.
You had Anthony Wilson in here a little while ago. So, what do you see from him? What made you want to bring him in?
Production. I mean, he had 101 tackles last year. He had a bunch of plays on the ball. I can't remember pass breakups and all this stuff, but he produced. He was physical. You never saw effort because, as you all know, we don't just go and watch a highlight tape. We're going to watch everything. We're going to watch the good, the bad. You never worried about effort. You could see him communicating on film. I think what fits us here is people that come from smaller schools and come up and they got a little bit of chip on their shoulder. And you walk every day he walks in this building, he's got a chip on his shoulder and something to prove. Now that doesn't mean he's walking around here mean mugging people and mad. I'm not saying that, but when he steps on them lines, it ain't about friends. It's about getting better and making sure that we're all on the same page. So that's what you saw, and that's what you're seeing right now. Like, I love everything about Anthony Wilson. The player, the person, all of it. Like, he is what you he's not what you go and draw on the board, but he's what you want in a football player.
Aubrey Burks, obviously he's made a lot of plays. You're smiling. How much of that is instincts? How much of that is God-given ability? Where does all that fit, and where can he go, and what can he be?
Well, I'll answer that last part again, just like I did in the spring. He can go as far as he wants, and I'm doubling down on it. That kid can play in the NFL if he wants to. If he continues to do the things that got him to this point, he will. That's if. Now, that's on him. He knows that the ball's in his court. He's got to keep doing it. If he wants to produce like he has this fall camp, because he's got 7 or 8 picks, he's probably got 6 or 7 more PBUs that have led to interceptions from other people. Like, if he wants to continue to do that, he needs to prepare like he has been. Because the best thing about Aubrey Burks right now is, and I just went and hammered it with my guys this morning, like, he meets with me one-on-one every other day. First thing in the morning, we meet at 6 a.m. Every other day. Does not matter if we're practicing, does not matter if it's an off day. Every other day, he meets with me. And he is not only just trying to figure out his job, but he's trying to make sure he understands where all those pieces are, and that is why he is able to play the way that he is. It's not, I know our offense likes to think that it's because he understands their play. No, it's because he knows what he has to defend and only what he has to defend. Because he knows what that skiff defender has to do, what that spur into the boundary that's on the other side of the field from him. Like, he knows every single person's job. So it allows him to play really, really fast. And when you've heard me say this before, when a young man gets to the point where he's not worrying about his job, now all he has to do is look at what the offense is telling him. Now the game becomes easy. Because just like as an offense looks at the defense, that offense has tails on every play. Whether number 2's on the ball, he's got a cut split, whatever it may be, they have tails. And now he's able to see those things and eliminate not an entire playbook, but narrow this thing down. I could probably get 2 or 3 things. And now I can react off of that. I got answers off of that. If I'm wrong, okay, I got an answer of how to fix it. So, again, what he can be is whatever he wants to be. Is it instincts? Is it ability? I think it's a merge of probably, I don't know, it's probably 60-40 instincts. He's got really good ability, but his instincts are what makes him play faster. And it may be even higher than 60-40, but it's a very good mix of both of those things, but his mind is the reason why he is able to do what he has been doing.
We asked Anthony, who was in here, if there one guy on the field that you needed to go to give you an answer that you would trust, and he said Burks right away. Would that be the guy?
It's not even close. He's an extension of a coaching staff. Like, I can't stress it enough. Like, the way he is preparing and the way he is studying his stuff, it is unbelievable. I know I sat in here before and said that he could go and do the back end and answer all the questions right, but now he's able to do the front. Now he's able to do every single thing else. And not only is he leading himself and holding himself accountable, but those meetings that I say at 6 a.m., well, now you got a spear in there with you. Now you got a spur in there with you. Now you got corners in there with you. And it's all because he's bringing them in. Because, yes, he wants us to play well, but he also knows that they need him to talk to them, because that's what he does. He controls everything. You've seen it in every one of our scrimmages. It's not doesn't look as good when he's not out there. And that's because he gives everybody else that confidence, because he tells everybody on the field what to do.
On the Burks end, the spring league before, he was kind of a player that was slowly starting to get brought up as a future NFL prospect out of here, and you brought up, his ceiling, he'd be as good as he wants to be. From that point to now, is he kind of sounds like he's doing everything that would get him to get there? Like,
He's doing every single thing.
like if you do this, this, and this, sounds like he's been doing.
He has followed it to a T. And again, that's why I say if he continues to follow it, he'll be as good as he wants to be. That's his choice. That ball's in his court again. But he has done every single thing that I have asked, that Coach Joseph asked, that Coach Leslie, Coach Don, Coach Neal, every single person that's at, he's done every single one of them. He's not been on a single list. He's not missed anything. He's not even close to late. He's the first person in the daggone building. He's the last one to leave. Like, he is preparing himself to be a professional right now. Like, that's his whole thought is, I want to be a professional. I better do it right now. Because if I wait until I get there, good luck to you. Learn how to play that way right now, and now you got a chance if you're blessed enough to get there.
About your other safeties, Keyshawn and Marcus.
Just in general,
Yeah.
they're having really good camps. And I had a rough night 2 nights ago, which we had to get cleaned up this morning. But they're having a really, really good camp. Like, I've got 4 guys right now that I feel really comfortable with putting into the game. Like, not hey, Coach, I got this guy in, you probably need to call this. We don't have those problems right now. Every one of the guys that we have are really, really good. Keyshawn is able to play nickel. He's able to play cat safety. If I had to have him, which early in camp with some injuries, when we were split squadding it, he played free safety as well. Like, he plays all of those positions. Marcus just stays in the free safety. That's what he's comfortable with. And I don't want his mind to get bogged down with other positions. But those guys are great. I don't want backups. They are backups because the first person that rolls out there, you know who the 2 are. But they're going to play a bunch of football, and they're going to help us win a bunch of games this year.
You're not incredibly tall in safety.
No.
And
I was
how do
talking
you?
about me.
Well, no, I was just saying, you recruit guys,
That's how it sounded, right?
you player, but you don't have a lot of height. How do you coach that with those guys?
It's just, would you like more length? Yes, but at the end of the day, it's all about the technique. And if they use the techniques that are being taught, that length doesn't matter. Because now the only thing length does is allow you to be further away. Without length, you just got to play tighter to people. I know you've heard Coach Coons talk about it in special teams. They got to get ball me man. Like, that's it. Once you get smaller guys, shorter guys, you got to think more ball me man. Think deny. When I got length, now I can bait them into some stuff, be a little bit further away, and still do my job.
Is there any technique differences when you're doing 50-50 balls and you got a high point? Clearly there's.
There is. It depends. I say there is, but it's not. It has nothing to do with the length. The techniques are the techniques. Just the taller guy will get to that technique faster. Like, there's 3 ways to play the ball. If I'm in phase, I'm gonna lean and locate. Meaning, if I'm stride by stride with that receiver, I'm gonna lean and locate. Does not matter height. I'm gonna lean and locate. I'm gonna get my eyes back through the sky so I don't get PI. If I'm a little bit beat and I'm a half a yard behind, now I'm gonna think secure the tackle and I'm raking through the opposite hand. Okay. Well, now if I'm really, really beat Okay, I'm just going to run like heck, and you're going to see. You see all the time we complain about getting defensive pass interference, but if I'm really, really beat, and now I see that wide out, and he starts to slow down, I cannot do this. I can't look because what am I going to do? I'm going to run into him, right? So now the only thing that I can do is this right here because I'm still looking for the ball. Now my body doesn't matter if I hit him or not. So the length doesn't matter, and it's all the same technique.
For the scrimmage the other night, Brown talked about turnover-wise, not good for the offense, but then in turn, that would mean good for the defense, but also Burks, it seems, maybe didn't play as much or sat out that scrimmage.
Yeah, he didn't play a snap.
Yeah, okay, so then who for you was impact players that helped create those turnovers? Who do
You talking 2 nights ago?
Yeah.
Scrimmage? Let me think now. Nobody in my room had any.
Oh, okay.
Nobody. Avery dropped one. Aiden Nelson should have had 2. The rest of them came from linebackers.
Oh, okay.
We had some fumbles off of sacks and stuff like that we got turnovers on, but we didn't have any in my group.
Okay.
But over the course of camp, I'm looking at my list.
Yeah.
Anthony's had a couple. Keyshawn's had a couple. Marcus has had a couple. Avery's dropped probably every one that he's had the opportunity to. I'm really not happy about it. And then Aiden and Josiah both have had 1 apiece. So we've had a mixed bag of guys getting their hands on balls, which has been an emphasis for us.
Right, and it's a noticeable difference, I'd imagine.
Yeah, and it's just in the structure that we do some things now, defensively, coverage-wise, that allows them to play with a little bit more vision and break and use what God gave them, their athletic ability.
Does the confidence, knowing that, feeling more confident that these turnovers are going to happen probably this year than last year
Yeah.
when you're in a rut, allow you to almost coach differently and be more aggressive? Or?
No, it doesn't matter. Like at the end of the day, I have to coach the way we have to coach the way that our kids need us, and our kids need us to be motivators. That's what we got to do. If our kids can handle it and they do it themselves, that's what they got to do. But the way we're going to coach always be aggressive. Like, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to miss a tackle. Don't be afraid to go for an interception. Like, if you make an aggressive mistake, that's okay. We'll come over and coach you up of how to do it better, but go be aggressive and let's not play passive and let people dictate to us. Let's go dictate to them. And if we make a mistake, we'll clean it up. Let's not make the same mistake twice, and let's move on.
Young safeties, Josiah's playing for you.
He is.
And then also Aiden Nelson.
Aiden Nelson and
What do you
Josiah.
What do you think of those 2?
I think they got really big futures. Just like you've heard me say a minute of times, like the game is way too fast for them right now, and mentally it is way too fast, but the kids love it. They care. And they work. They're going to be just fine. Like, if you put on their film from day 1 of camp to right now, you're like, oh, that's not the same people. Like, they understand the defense a little bit. Now, not the way they need to. And that's why they're not in the thought of defense right now. But they got all kind of athleticism, all kind of speed, physicality. Like, Aiden Nelson, our basketball coach, wants him to come over and play with him this fall. This season. But so they got big-time athleticism and talent. They just got to learn what they're doing and learn how to play at this level.
I'm probably wrong here. I'm counting them up here on the roster. What do you got? 7, 8
I got
safeties?
8.
And you got 3 spears?
I don't do the spheres.
So you have 8 safeties and there's 3. Is that enough?
8 safeties?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is. It is. I've got 5 to get me out of a game right now. 6 and 7, I'd be scared to death if I got to Aiden and Josiah. And again, that's not because of ability.
That's 5 for 2 spots.
Yes, 5 for 2 spots.
Okay.
You got a kid like Anthony Wilson that says, call Joseph in his idol. No.
Say it one more time.
Call Joseph in his idol.
Yes.
Yeah. You want aggressive players, but you can't be called Joseph today. I mean,
You can. You just got to do it the right way.
How do you coach that into him?
It's fairly simple. If you hit between here and the kneecap, you have no problem. If you hit with your face mask, you have no problem ever. It does not matter. It really is that simple. I know it looks a whole lot more complicated, but if they hit in the strike zone, and with their face, there is no problem. But the second that goes down, now you have a problem.
And keep the same aggressiveness no matter what.
Yes, sir. Like, every day I have to tell Anthony, hey, whoa, hold on now, but that's your teammate. You need him on Saturday. Like, it can be done, and he does it at a really, really, like our first day out there, we did half line pass, and one of them wideouts came down the sideline, and he threw every single thing he had at him, and I took off sprint. Hey, we don't do well. I was allowed to at my last school. When we're not going to do that here. We're going to take care of each other. But he's got it in him. And, you know, I didn't want to say it. You said it, but that's who he reminds me of. He plays that way. Yep, he plays that way.
Maybe a throwback a little bit, huh?
I love it. I love it. You should hear us in these daggone staff rooms. When we're watching film, like, we get giddy excited watching it. Like, it's fun to watch. It really is.
I have to ask you this because we had Blaine in here, and you talk to defensive coaches, and there just seems to be a dread of having to game plan against tight ends. There's just something about what they do that causes problems. What are the problems that you deal with when you're dealing with tight ends, or a lot of tight ends that are athletic and all of those?
Well, to me, my first thought goes to they create extra gaps. Okay? They create extra gaps, and those gaps aren't always where they start. And what that means is, okay, we'll say we call it a hip tight end. Say that tight end's off the ball but attached to that tackle. Well, just because he's lined up on the left side as we look at it doesn't mean that's where he's going to finish on that play. He's going to create an extra gap here. Well, now once you have him here and then you put a motion guy in, and now who's who? What's my number? Who's two? Who's three? Like, that creates confusion for a defense. And now you have to have rules like, do they spill? Do they box? That's from D-line to linebackers to safeties. Like, and they got to know on every single call, what player am I? And am I allowed to spill it, or do I have to box that and send it back to my help? So that, to me, is the first thing, is the extra gaps that it creates. And you got to obviously plan for that defensively, and I feel like we got a good plan for it. But then in the pass game, you know, a Cole Taylor becomes a matchup problem. It really, truly does, because he's going to be bigger than every safety that he faces. He's going to be bigger than every corner that he faces. Well, now he's bigger than every safety in every corner. Maybe he doesn't run by them, but he's going to run by those linebackers when you try to put a linebacker on him. So now that's a matchup problem for them. It's a matchup problem for the DBs because he's so much bigger than everybody else. So that's the issue in the pass game. In the run game, extra gaps and moving gaps is the reason why it's a problem, in my opinion.
You said earlier this summer that sometimes last year teams could pick on the secondary by just figuring out who the step-down defender was and kind of basically picking on the free and the cat, and that had to be changed by maybe getting like more equal skills among those players.
Yeah,
Easier said than done, I'm guessing.
Go ahead. What was the last part?
I don't want to interrupt you. Sorry. Easier said than done, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think what Neil is saying is because we were so youthful last year, we had so much youth that they can't stay back here and trust that if they hold a too-high shell before the ball snapped and they don't tell the quarterback what you're in, like that youth makes them get nervous and they want to start tightening down. Well, now once you've tightened down and you show what you're in, it's just like whoever's on the board last. Whoever got the pin last is going to win. Well, if you show them what you're in, well, they got the answer for it. And that's what I think that's what Coach was meaning is like we were just telling people what we were in. Because what a young guy doesn't understand, and I'm trying to fight that with Aiden and Osiah, is all that worry is they don't feel like they're going to be able to get there fast enough. But they don't understand that showing that shell of too high, well, that quarterback has went to a too high beater. Now when you give him a different picture, that quarterback has to do what? He's got to pat on the ball now. Well, there's that time that you bought, that you're further away. You may start further away, but that time inside the snap when that ball is snapped allows you to now. Because oh, crap, it's not cover two. Oh, crap, it's not one high. It's too high. Now he's got to reprocess, right? And that buys him the time to get back. So I think that's what Coach Brown's talking about is just we lined up and showed people what we were in.
You don't want to.
I do not want, like we talk about home base all the time. Home base is home base. If you got a tight two, this is where you line up. If you got a loose two, this is where you line up. If you have a single, this is where you line up. And it does not matter the call. That's where you line up pre-snap, and then what the call is tells you where to go next.
So then once the snap does happen, is one better at one thing than the other, like coming down and tackling? That they both have to be pretty similar when it comes to how they can handle tackling
They do
and
now.
coverage. And
They
is that
have to
better
be.
than it was at this point last year?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
As across the board on defense, we are so much better tacklers. Like we do tackling every single day, no matter if we have helmets on or if we're in full pads. We are going to tackle, and we're going to what Coach Leslie says. We're going to callus up. Like we're going to do it so many times that it turns into a callus and it's second nature. And you can see that from scrimmage 2 nights ago. Like we only had a couple missed tackles. And we got some pretty good dudes we're going against over there. You know, CJ played 10 or 15 snaps, and we had to get his butt down on the ground. Like, we got some dudes we're going against. And we're not missing a bunch of tackles. It's because we do it every single day.
is the coverage thing then, in that same vein, is the coverage thing just a matter of being older, being more experienced? It's not a physical thing as much, just not panicking like you're saying.
It's not panicking. It's understanding what your job and where it fits into the defense. I mean, like, I can say this, like, if you're a true third, well, your progression is 2-to-1. This is across the country. It's not giving anything of ours away. My progression is 2-to-1. Well, if number 2 goes out at any point, I am supposed to widen, because now the only way I have to worry about number 1 is if he stays dead vertical. If number 1 wants to go in there into the post, let it go, because there's somebody in there that is his job. And now if 2 wants to wheel up, now I'm still doing mine. That's what I mean by, like, understanding what I have to defend. Like, if 2 goes out and you don't widen, well, now all you're going to see is 1 coming at you running a post, and you're going to want to squeeze back with it. So understanding what you have to defend and what your job is, that comes with reps, that comes with maturity, experience, all of those things. But I really like where we're at. I think our guys have a really, really good understanding of it. All of them have a really good understanding of it. They got to keep honing in on it, but I like where we're at right now, 12 days out.
One more. Stokes. Finally healthy?
Spear.
Okay.
Natural to him, too.
Really?
Yes.
That's changed. I know you don't have Spear.
Yeah, he's playing Spear right now behind Hershey and Lance and all those guys. And I think he feels at home now. He feels more comfortable, because his problem is he's better when somebody's telling him what to do instead of having to be the one that tells everybody what to do. So he's moved closer to the ball, and he's physical, he's athletic, he'll strike you. Now he's just got to learn the position. And you can see he's getting better every single day, but he's going to help us at some point, especially on special teams this year, maybe on defense. Good. Appreciate you guys.